Good afternoon, comrade subscribers. Hope you're well. It's a bit of a warm one today. Well, it's cooled down a bit, 26 degrees at 5 p.m. I think about 30 degrees according to my car earlier today. Anyway, so I have replaced IC3 and 4, which are the multiplexers for the lower 16K of RAM. That was one of the possible issues that was flagged by the Retroleum Diagnostic ROM. So I'm going to record the screen. I'm not going to do video capture because we lose a few seconds at the start, which are important. So I'm just going to video the screen, I'm afraid. And so we'll see what the issue is now. White shirt today, so unfortunately you're going to get a bit of reflection. Anyway. Right, so, okay, the converter is on. Turn the Speccy on. Okay, lower RAM test. Surprise, surprise, all fine at the start. Let's just turn that a little bit that way. Okay. Alright, keyboard's not plugged in. Even when the keyboard plugged in, it wasn't happy last time. Alright, let me plug the keyboard in. Maybe because of the ULA, because I'm not using the official ULA. This is what it was doing last time. What if we power off? Okay. Okay. So we're making progress. Last time we were getting lower RAM addressing error. Now that's solved. Now we've got upper RAM addressing error only. Okay. IC 23 to 26. All right, let's have a look. Okay. Which one's that one? That's 26, 25, 24. Is that 23? 23. That one's I've already replaced for the 128K upgrade. So these three, which I've got 3 left, so maybe I can do them tonight. But that's what it seems to be complaining about now. Okay, it's not complaining about the, sorry, zoom out. Making progress, maybe.
Good morning, comrade subscribers. Hope everyone's well. Thought we'd try and crack on with this. It's been a while, but I've been waiting for some parts to arrive, so hopefully we can get this up sorted today. Before we start, I think there's 3 main groups, I guess, in the vintage computer scene. So there's the normies, or the proles. So they don't really care about the hardware. They want to try a computer, they'll just fire up the emulator, muck around with it for about half an hour, realise the computer was shit, the game sucked, and then move on to something else. Then you've got the hackers like me, not a software hacker in that sense, traditional sense, but a hacker in that, will modify the hardware, will modernize it, will customize it. We don't mind doing that, but we don't want emulation. We still want to use the original hardware, but we want to modernize it as much as possible because we want it to last as long as possible. So there's so that's us, and then there's the third group, which is the ultra orthodox, as I see them. They view things like this as abominations, as a heresy. They view us as heretics. They view this as mutants, mutant computers that need to be purged and cleansed, an affront to the omnicia. You know, they you've got to have an original ULA. You can't have a modern VLA. It's got to be an original ULA. You know, they'll allow certain things. For example, modifying the RF modulator so it outputs baseband video, so that they can do that, or maybe an SD card interface to load software. But everything else has to be original, and this kind of would drives them insane. No, obviously I'm exaggerating, but the reason why I'm saying all that is I want to lead up to trying to fix this. I didn't grow up on Spectrum, so you know, this is still all pretty new to me. But I just realised working on it that it is really quite simple. So this is an issue 2 board. And we zoom. Let's zoom in a bit more, maybe. Okay, maybe that's too much. Okay. So the spec is really quite simple, thanks to the ULA. You know, we've got the Z80, the CPU. We've got the ROM. We've got the ULA, which is basically where most of everything is. Then we've got the lower RAM, lower 16K RAM. Then we've got the upper 32K RAM, and then we've got the logic here, basically for the RAM. I think most of it, 1 or 2 of them is for the lower RAM, and then the rest of it's for the upper RAM. And then the only other I see here is for the video output here. So really, there's not much for it to go wrong, apart from the capacitors and the transistors, of course. But you know, you've got your CPU, you've got your ROM, you've got your RAM, lower RAM, upper RAM, and a couple of chips for the RAM, and that's it. So it is quite a simple computer. The reason why I'm saying that is that I pretty much replaced everything. And the reason why I was talking about that stuff before is that, you know, I've got a VLA in here. I'm probably end up replacing all of these chips. And the reason why I haven't worked on this for a while is I've been I ordered some more. So that's for the Osborne. Get to that later. But Phil at Retroleum in the UK, he's got some. So we've got an upper RAM replacement and a lower RAM replacement. So what we've been concentrating on at the moment is the multiplexers and the other bits and pieces here, because that's what the Diagnostic ROM has been pointing at. But I had a feeling that once I've replaced all this, we're going to basically end up that there's still basically faulty RAM. So we've got 4116 here. So this is 16K. So this is 16 kilobit RAM modules, 8 of them. So we've got 16K. And then we've got the upper 32K here. But this, I believe, this is the story, was that these are actually 64 kilobit. But either the upper or the lower fails, so it's actually just 32. So that's where we get the 32K from. Rather than just trying to buy individual chips and replacing them all, so what Phil at Retroleum's got is he's got boards here. Let me just pull these off. Okay, so we've got the lower RAM replacement here. So that's this one here. So obviously I'm going to have to get these out. But basically Phil's replacement just kind of sits in here. So rather than just going through trying to replace all that, I don't know which way it goes in, maybe that way or that way, have to read the instructions. So we can replace that there. And then if we have an issue with the upper RAM, I'm not going to pull it out if it's not broken, but just in case. Then similarly, we have an upper RAM replacement board there as well. So this is what I was talking about before about the ultra-orthodox versus the hackers. So we've basically replaced the logic, we replaced the ULA, we replaced the lower RAM, the upper RAM. The only thing original really are the resistors and the board itself. But still, it is original. I think. I don't know if the Z80 isn't socketed, so I haven't tried replacing that, so I don't know if we'll ultimately do all this and then we've still got an issue with the Z80, I don't know. But anyway, so that's the plan. Let me put all this back together. So what we'll do is we'll fire it up and see what the situation is. Basically, the thing I've got left is we've got another 157 here, IC25 and IC24, which is, what's it, a 00. So let's see what it's complaining about now. But I think from what I remember, the graphics are looking better. Before it was all garbled, now it's kind of all better, but I was getting the impression that maybe ultimately the issue is going to be one or more of the DRAM. Hence why I got this in preparation. I don't want to lose this. This is a 4116, so that's one of these, but it's the same as what the Osborne uses. And the Osborne apparently has one faulty. Actually, I wonder if I could use a bunch of these on the Osborne. Don't know. Might be interesting. Anyway, let's fire it up and check. Alright, so first thing I've done is I've put the modulator back on. The reason for that is that the RGB output connector actually allows for the modulator to be there. I didn't realise that, so it'll actually sit quite nicely on top of it. And the reason why I put it back in as well is that running the diagnostics, it keeps complaining about the keyboard, so I don't know. I think it's related to the ULA, so I don't know if it kind of knows about that or not. So I thought, well, I might run the diagnostics with the original ULA, which in turn also means that I need to put this back on to get the video output. So here's the original ULA. And that's pin 1 there, isn't it? Okay. Nope. Okay, let's hook this all up and see what we get today. Okay, let's start recording. Power on. Okay. Always, oh, does that mean I have to have the keyboard plugged in? Ooh. I haven't got this far before. Don't tell me all the issues have been because of the ULA, or the VLA 82. Well, hang on, let me plug the keyboard in. Okay, keyboard's plugged in. My keyboard doesn't seem to be doing anything. Let's turn that off. Turn it back on. Okay. All right, get this all the time. I'll try a different keyboard. Okay, or I look this up, see what this means. Because the keyboard's plugged in. Key stuck. Okay. Let's unplug. All right, let me fiddle around with this. I don't know if I'm going to be able to reproduce this, but let me start recording again. Power on. Okay, this is the other thing that's been happening, is that after it's been running for a couple of minutes, then it's kind of permanently broken. So that's why I'm wondering, maybe there is an issue with this lower RAM once it's warmed up. Power off. Morning, comrade subscribers. So after some effort, I've got all the RAM chips out, replaced with sockets. So place the lower RAM board in. I believe like so. There. I think that's in. Looks in. Alright, let's connect it all up, power it up, and see what's wrong now. Okay. Alright. Let me get it set up. Okay, let's start recording the screen. And power on. Yep, I hope so. It's brand new. Okay. So I still don't know what to do about that stuck key, port 254. But but there's nothing even when I disconnect. Huh? Okay. Now we've got silly buggers again. Power off. Power on. Three, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, hang on. 8. Green, red. Okay. Now what's it telling us? Now there's the problem. Okay. Still trying to run. All right, let's stop that. Okay, so see this port 254, the keyboard scanning. Still, I don't understand what the issue is. Okay, so even with no keyboard connected, power is off. Power is off. Okay, so I can poke at it. So the pull up. So we've got this port here.
for the rows. So we've got 5 pins and we've got 5 pull-up resistors here. So they are supposed to be, I guess, what, 10k each. When I measured them, they were 6k each, but it's in circuit, so I don't know. So pull up to 5 volts, and then they're connected to the ULA ports. Connected to the ULA ports here. 19, 20. 23, 24, 26. So it says that 24 is okay because it's high. No, it's active. Yeah, because it's high. So these should all be high because we've got the pull-up resistors to 5 volts. That's my understanding. But they're all the same. There's, like I said, they all measure about 6k in circuit. When I measure between the keyboard port and the ULA pin, they all measured 6k. They're all the same, so I don't understand that still. So that's, I think that's a red herring perhaps. I still haven't replaced these 2 chips. There's a 157 and a 00. God, man. All right. It continues.